Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Rumor has it that Kevin Feige, head of Marvel, and Bob Iger, head of Disney, are arguing about the right way forward for the X-Men. How? How is this even possible? It's because Kevin Feige does not know what he wants from Marvel. He doesn't know what he wants from the characters. And what he ought to want is that the people who love these characters and care about these characters, especially the people who came to see the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, are satisfied with whatever direction that you pick. What is a Marvel movie? Kevin Feige's opinion is, well, a Marvel movie can be anything. All you have to do is put the Marvel logo on it. He really did say this in an interview, or something very close to it. I remember watching it and thinking to myself, yes, it's true. Marvel tells many kinds of stories. They tell stories about heroes. It's not just superheroes. There are male heroes. There are female heroes. Some call them heroines. And there are villains. And there are anti-heroes. And there's science fiction. There are all kinds of stories that are told with the Marvel logo on them. You can just look at the comics for that. Yes, that's true. But you're trying to reboot the brand. You're trying to get people to understand. When you see the Marvel logo, what are you supposed to think of? Oh, this is great. I'm going to go see the movie. I don't care what it is. They tried that. It didn't work. Particularly with, look, we have this very important social agenda we want to push. And we figured we'd use the Marvel brand to do it. And it's okay if not everybody goes to see the movie. We're willing to give up some money because we want to get this message across and we think it's a great thing to do and Marvel's already made enough money. Or they took the attitude that because Black Panther was a standout success and Captain Marvel was a standout success, that had nothing to do with it being set up by the previous momentum generated from the on-brand Marvel movies. So not only are we doing good by just pushing our political agendas and our ideological agendas, but we might also make a lot of money here. Let's reinvent superheroes. They tried it. It didn't work. Even if it did work, which it did not, but even if it did, that was years ago. It's not working now. The only thing that works now is not even making a good movie. That's not enough. A lot of people like Thunderbolts. Nobody cared about Thunderbolts. You have established superhero characters. You have actors who are established playing those roles, like in Deadpool and Wolverine. It's an action-heavy movie by established characters with established actors. That's what makes money. Those are your strengths. That's what you have to play to. That seems to be close to what's coming from Bob Iger in the argument. Whether Iger figured that out on his own or got speaking to a good consultant or a couple of professional people or listened to some people that actually know story in the industry, who knows where he got the information from. But that is the close to right answer. Feige wants more social commentary. Feige wants you thinking about, hey, what does it mean to be a mutant? What does it mean to feel like an outcast? That's okay for a theme. Once you have established characters and momentum, and you want to tell kind of a special, unique type of story. But you certainly can't introduce a group of heroes, your new version of your new X-Men, where other than Wolverine, who else in the cast do you really know that you're looking for in that movie? It's not established. It's essentially very similar to the Thunderbolts. Who were the Thunderbolts? Who was interested in the Thunderbolt characters? Or the cast? Pretty much nobody. It's strange to say, but Bob Iger really does have the right idea here. He's the one who's closest to it. And if Kevin Feige goes along like this, he's setting the whole thing up for failure. Not intentionally, just because he's way too far past when he knew what he was doing. From thatparkplace.com, Feige and Iger reportedly clash over X-Men movie direction. Disney scrambles for a blockbuster, while Feige wants more social commentary. You know who else wants more social commentary? Pedro Pascal, the star of Fantastic Four. Reed Richards. He said this recently. From Variety, Pedro Pascal says, F the people that try to make you scared when asked about U.S. political chaos. Fight back. Don't let them win. He could have been worse, but he didn't need to be saying that. They've had too much of this social commentary from actors leading their projects that cause a lot of people to get turned off. You cannot turn people off anymore and still make money making movies. What's Pedro Pascal's problem? Well, he says he's an immigrant. I don't know if he came here legally or not. I'm not following him around. But I do know he's been struggling with this problem he has because his biological brother is now calling himself Lux Pascal, and he's very supportive of his, I guess, gay transgender brother. That's their personal family business. I don't know what that's like to have to go through that. My brother is married. He's a guy. He looks like he's going to keep it that way. So I'm not dealing with that as a brother or a family member. I'm sure it creates a lot of conflict, but I don't know how much more obvious it needs to get for Kevin Feige and other executives at Marvel to realize you need to deliver for the fans. You need to stop it with the ideological messaging. And when you're going to tell a story, it's got to be focused on a character and themes that are relatable for everyone. And trying to explore the theme of, well, I feel like a mutant. What does it mean to be a mutant? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Sure, we all feel like outcasts at times. But the pushing of the LGBT agenda and the trans agenda and the DEI agenda so aggressively through multiple brands, in addition to, of course, Marvel's brands for its characters, has been so aggressive lately that they need to make sure when they pick a theme and they tell a story, it is automatically relatable and not something that you have to appreciate DEI culture for to be comfortable going to see the movie or letting your children go see the movie or bringing your children or someone else's children. I don't know who you bring into the movie, but whatever, your friends and their kids. It can't be anything anymore that gets people to say, oh, I see you're trying to push an agenda here. And in the X-Men, there's been this desperate appropriation to try to go back to the original creation of the X-Men and to say it was about gay people or to say it was about not being accepted because you're different because of your sexuality or because of racism or whatever. And some of the I am different and struggling to be accepted and to find my place, it is inherent to the X-Men. That did exist when it was first created. However, if you're going to focus on that theme and say, oh, it's credible because it's sort of similar to the original creation, you absolutely run the huge risk of people being turned off because we've had way too much propaganda about that subject in the last several years. After the recent success of Deadpool and Wolverine, what the X-Men should be is Deadpool and Wolverine 2. As close to that as it can possibly be. Because you're in the business of maintaining these characters and making money. Not trying to convince people that have already said, we do not want to be persuaded with this. We don't want this pushed on us right now. We're going to a movie to relax and to maybe relate to a character. You know, the characters actually had arcs in Deadpool and Wolverine. My quick summary on Deadpool was he seemed like he did not know what to do with his life. He couldn't have a good career. He wasn't a successful superhero. He wasn't a successful anything. And then he was given the opportunity to save the world and save the universe. Wolverine had done some bad things in the past and was trying to atone for them and couldn't atone for them, but found a way to atone for them. And at the end, their characters were able to actually save the universe and positive things happened. It was heroic. It was a big story, but also a small story focusing on their individual characterization. They weren't trying to convince you that it's great that Deadpool makes gay jokes and that maybe you might also be gay. Whether that's true or not, that was not the theme of the movie. And that worked for the movie. And similarly, people in life, like Wolverine, may regret some decisions they made in the past that hurt other people. And they punish themselves over that and become self-destructive. Working with Deadpool, Wolverine overcame that. That's a person's actual story and it's relatable regardless of your sexual preferences or your skin color. The X-Men have stories like that can be told. That's what they should be focused on. Like Bob Iger is saying, actually, with a lot of action. New rumors suggest a behind-the-scenes battle is brewing over Marvel's long-awaited X-Men reboot, with Kevin Feige and Bob Iger reportedly at odds over the tone and focus of the upcoming film. According to insiders cited by X-user Main Middleman and reported by Cosmic Book News, the creative clash may determine whether Marvel's mutants return as ideological avatars or as crowd-pleasing box office titans. I don't know that the stakes are that high, because you don't just walk into being a crowd-pleasing box office titan. There was a lot of work by Ryan Reynolds that went into the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. What's difficult to understand is why Marvel wouldn't just go to Ryan Reynolds and say, look, here's a massive contract for your marketing company. Help us figure out what to do with the Marvel brand. At the very least, help us figure out how to build a world of characters around Deadpool. You don't have to appear in every movie. It would be great if you would, but help us build out characters around Deadpool's immediate local universe, within his continuity. But ideally, you get Ryan Reynolds to greenlight and direct everything over at Marvel, because what he did worked. Middleman said this: Feige wanted a more grounded X-Men story with a plot that really focused on social issues and disagreements about what it means to be a mutant. He wanted a powerful, dramatic movie that really showed what the X-Men were all about, with the Brotherhood of Mutants as the bad guys. But that's not what Iger and Disney want, he said. Aware of the poor performance of more restrained films, especially the disappointing box office results like Captain America 4 and Thunderbolts recently, the script has been requested to focus on a great event film to get wider audience attention. Any possible theme that ties in with bad recent box office results, say like diversity, equity, and inclusion, anything that hints at that type of specialness, is not good. Even if it's germane, and I don't necessarily think it is, but even if it's germane and completely spot on with the original brand associated with the creation of the comics directly by Stan Lee. Just because Stan Lee did something doesn't mean it's timely and it's going to make money. There are a lot of things Stan Lee did that would not be timely right now and would not make money. At the center of the Feige-Iger X-Men debate is the vision for what this new era of mutants should represent. Feige, who has overseen the Marvel Cinematic Universe since its inception, allegedly pushed for a grounded, socially charged story about mutant identity and the philosophical rift between the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants. That concept would follow in the footsteps of many recent Marvel offerings that leaned heavily into contemporary political metaphors and social themes. But Iger, facing mounting pressure from shareholders due to diminished MCU box office returns, appears to be pushing a different direction. After a string of box office disappointments, including The Marvels, Quantumania, Thunderbolts, and Captain America Brave New World, Disney's top brass is reportedly demanding a return to high-stakes, high-octane event films designed to reignite mass audience interest. Under Iger's renewed leadership, Disney has slashed underperforming Disney Plus content, cut Marvel's release slate, and shifted focus back to theatrical blockbusters after admitting that audiences have grown weary of content for content's sake. Iger has already proven he's willing to course-correct, gutting Chapek's distribution model, canceling greenlit projects, and firing executives like Victoria Alonso after public missteps. Iger has at least a strong sense of what went wrong at Disney. It is ultimately all his fault, but getting beyond it being his fault, because he would have no idea how to creatively act. He's never been a creator when he's at Disney or before Disney. Michael Eisner was the former CEO of Disney. But Iger never had that skill set or that sensibility, but he can at least see, like, there are some directions that Pixar can go in and ruin the Pixar brand. And the same with Disney Animation. And the same, of course, with Marvel and Star Wars. It's all the same. Either you give people what they want, or they're not going to watch your content or buy your products. If you look at Disney's recent Daredevil series, that's unwatchable. It's that bad that it really, truly is unwatchable. It is work to watch that. And I know there were heavy reshoots. But to not know how to be able to put together something that's at least somewhat entertaining, somewhat watchable, it's enough that Feige should have been held accountable. Even just for that would have been enough to get rid of him. The Disney Plus Marvel shows are budgeted at around $25 million each. Only Stranger Things at Netflix has that kind of a budget. I have no idea where all that money actually goes. It doesn't look like it goes into the productions. But they originally committed to do 18 episodes of Daredevil Born Again. That's almost $500 million for that absolutely unwatchable, terrible show, not knowing what they're trying to accomplish with it creatively. It's unfathomable. And all of that did happen under Feige. The point being that the less they do at Marvel, the less they can do wrong. The less creative leaps they're trying to make, just going with what works, the easier it is for them to have some measure of success. The rumored conflict also mirrors the success of Spider-Man No Way Home and Deadpool and Wolverine, both of which delivered major returns by prioritizing fan service and franchise nostalgia over social commentary. Also, they just had structured, intelligent stories that you could relate to and follow. It's no surprise that Iger reportedly wants the X-Men to follow that winning formula rather than risk another niche-focused flop. And these are high-budget, niche-focused flops. Things that almost have no chance of possibly succeeding. Casting speculation is equally chaotic. Reports have floated names like Cynthia Erivo for Storm, Daniel Day-Lewis as Magneto, Bryan Cranston as Professor X, and even Patrick Schwarzenegger as Cyclops. It's unclear how serious any of the contenders are, but Feige is said to be considering black actors for Professor X and Magneto as well, another possible point of divergence from prior interpretations. And that divergence could come at a price, with another massive failure at the box office. With much of the MCU brand now diluted from years of underwhelming content, the X-Men represent one of Marvel's last major trump cards. It's a legacy property with deep recognition and storytelling potential that, if done right, could reignite enthusiasm across mainstream audiences. But the studio is running out of goodwill. If you throw the Marvel logo on any project, it's not guaranteed success anymore. It doesn't really have a built-in audience that will look at it. If you're an MCU fan, a Marvel fan, think about Marvel just throwing its logo on something. Your gut feeling is not that you're going to go see it. It's that you're probably going to be disappointed and you're not going to want to see it, but you'll look at it and you'll see what it might be. Giving something a look like that is not what a brand is supposed to be. Brand is supposed to equal immediate sale because you know what to expect. They've gone beyond diluting. They've damaged the brand to the point where there really is no MCU anymore. You will take a look at something they're going to offer, but you would look at anything that was well produced in the form of marketing or a trailer anyway if it fits the kind of movies you'd like to see. The X-Men is a known brand, and the X-Men is something people could get excited about if Ryan Reynolds is in charge of the marketing and is in the movie as Deadpool, or at least is in charge of the marketing and is putting together things that he knows are going to get people's attention and interest. Marvel has zero goodwill left, not low goodwill and not reduced goodwill, but really zero. People anticipate something bad when they hear Marvel. The same as Star Wars. Pixar has managed to turn that around. People hear Pixar now and they think, oh, it's probably going to actually be good because they have turned themselves around. I'm a lot less skeptical of the Pixar brand than I am of the Marvel brand. If the X-Men reboot leans too far into controversial casting decisions, race-swap legacy characters, it could go the way of the Eternals or the Marvels, expensive, alienating, and ultimately forgettable. Cynthia Erivo's rumored involvement is already drawing scrutiny from longtime fans, many of whom view her past activism and public statements over the movie Wicked as unnecessarily confrontational. Combined with the whispers of ideological storytelling and character reimaginings that stray far from canon, it's easy to see why concern is mounting that Marvel, and Feige in particular, may not have learned from the franchise's recent stumbles. I will tell you, no, they have not learned from the franchise's recent stumbles. They're not building on their success. How do you know that? How do I know that? Because it would be obvious if they were building on their recent success. What would they do? They would do things that make it clear and obvious that they're building on their recent success. They're not doing that. They're keeping a relatively low profile. They're not giving you a sense that Marvel is back. Whether the X-Men leans towards Feige or bends towards Iger, the X-Men are shaping up to be a defining battleground for Marvel's future. With Iger set to exit Disney in 2026, the X-Men reboot not expected until 2027 or later, the time frame allows for either of their two visions to play out. But in today's climate, the stakes are clear. Marvel needs a win. Bob Iger understands that. Kevin Feige is not thinking about that. Kevin Feige has not learned any lessons, and he's not been held accountable. In an environment like that, you can only have more failure. When you see Ryan Reynolds one day take a strong hand in doing business with Marvel and promoting Marvel again, then you'll know things have turned around. Until that time, I'm highly skeptical. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.